Yo, what's going on, guys? Koi here. Today we're going to be talking about another tier list for Anime Reborn. Just an update. I didn't play much of this update personally, just because obviously I didn't really get into the update because I'm not that big of a Black Clover fan, and the characters were rather mediocre at best. So, let me go ahead and explain a few things. Yes, I didn't play the update as much as most people did, nor did I really make content on it, but that doesn't disregard my opinion on the game because I keep up to date with every single thing about it. So that makes my opinion pretty valid still. And I can tell you for sure, there's some characters that are some big stinkers up in this update, man. Just like last update, except they didn't buff anybody this time. So let's go ahead and get into the actual game. We'll actually get into the tier list itself. Obviously, we're just going to be doing a quick overview of what characters have become outdated or which characters just suck. One, obviously, we're just going to throw the blues down. We didn't get any new blues this update. So we did get. We're just gonna go ahead and put everybody where they kind of belong right now, and just kind of work from there. So of course Ichigo, Krillin, just some of these characters that don't have any passives that make them interesting. They kind of fall into that place of just unusable. Oh yeah, that's right. We do have to name these again, which is meh. Uh, and then we have okay at best. If you don't know what okay at best means, okay at best is just like units that have like decent damage or they have like a really cool gimmick or passive that make them very useful, and that's kind of where they kind of land. Okay at best. And then B is usable units that are still kind of like in the meta that are usable. And then we have hang on, I have to do it with caps. Really good units. These are units that are like entirely usable in the game, but also could stand out depending on which piece of content they're in. And then we have the case of must-have units, which are just a list of units that you kind of have to have in order to really be the best at this game. If you really don't have any of these units in the must-have, you should probably start farming them because a lot of them are incredibly, incredibly important units in order to pretty much like beat the game, at least most bits of content in the game. Then you'll get a better understanding of how to like play the game and stuff like that. I'm just kind of like throwing some characters down real quick. Some that we'll be talking about in a second, but I just want to get all the blues out of the way real quick, so we have a better understanding of where we kind of land with those. So we have all the blues out of the way. Of course, the blues are just like here because they have a very particular use. I don't know why last tier list I ended up moving Inosuke up. I think Inosuke actually deserves to be in the mech category. Slowest end game unit ever. Like, holy crap, is it so bad? Same thing with like characters like Zenitsu, who just don't have a passive that makes them useful, but still do decent damage at the beginning of the game. We have Mr. Magenta, who's very cool in my opinion. Just the only problem with him, he does a lot of damage, but he's a single target unit, which kind of ruins him pretty much. Bulma, she's just like the worst farm unit ever. She costs way too much to put down compared to just working with a Speedwagon, where Speedwagon also gives you the passive that you don't like. If you're not using Speedwagon's passive to make your costs a lot cheaper, then you're stupid. All right, let's see. We have Hiei and Yosuke. These two just literally just don't have a passive that makes them better. They're just okay units. That's it. They're just okay. So like they don't have any crazy passives or gimmicks or anything crazy. Same thing with Neji. Neji just has like a different like outlook, I guess. Like Lee kind of is just a better version of what Neji is. We've talked about this before. That's why I'm kind of like blitzing through this. Uryu is just a worse version of what an air unit is, but like he's still an air unit and he still does really good damage and he has really nice AoE. The only thing that sucks is his passive, which is a passive chance to slow, but I've never seen him slow anything in my life. So it's like he's so gimmicky, it's sad. Plus there's also better units than him right now. Genos is just an incredibly solid fire unit, does a lot of damage. Nothing to really worry about with this guy. And yeah, that pretty much does it with those guys. Uh Now we're going to go ahead and kick it to what we had originally in the really good unit category and just kind of like see where we kind of land from there. Oh, one sec. All right, there we go. And the freaking Fortnite thing pop up. That's not good. All right, so we're going to talk about units that like kind of like are in that must have category, and also are in that category of very very useful. And then we'll be talking about them from here. So first things first, let's go ahead and talk about some of the characters that I have seen in the past that are now kind of outdated since this update. One of those characters is going to be Water Goddess. If you're a new player, Water Goddess is definitely worth it, but Water Goddess did take a massive, massive dip since there is a character that is better than Water Goddess on this category, and we'll talk about her in just a moment. So Water Goddess does fall off from really, really good. Uh, we also have some other characters in usable. That will be Blackbeard. Hang on, where's Blackbeard? Okay, here's Blackbeard. He's still in that usable category just because of that slowness. There is a character that does his stuff a lot better now, but it's kind of iffy the way that it works. I'll explain that when we get there. Uh, Nanami, even after the update, he's still a very solid unit. Uh, he's solid, but he's just not there, man. He just doesn't do enough damage. Yami, Yami's usable. He's kind of there, but it requires you to use Asta. If you're not using Asta, you're wasting your time. You might as well put Odin on the freaking team, and that's where Odin kind of lands. Is just kind of like slightly better than Yami. I think some people were a little upset about that. That I put Odin below Yami when Yami is a straight up support character, and even at that, Nanami is probably a straight up support character too, which is totally fine. Um, we do have Broly, who just has a terrible kit and still needs to get buffed, because for a unit that's supposed to do a crap ton of damage, he really doesn't. That starts off with the really good units. We'll get light. We'll get what's his name again? Darn it, Lightning Kid. I'm just gonna call him Lightning Kid for now. Um, we have, of course, Pain up here too. Let's just go ahead and knock out this category. We do have the other chick who still never got a buff, by the way. The Battle Pass units are absolutely garbage. I can't say that they're like super usable. I mean, they're cool if you get them for free. Just don't buy the skin. Like, don't buy the Battle Pass for the skin. It's just not worth it. Not worth upgrading. Not worth taking to level 50 at all. I mean, these are usable units, but they're not the best in the freaking game. So it's like they're up there, but they're not up there. All right. Let's see. Where do we kind of feel with this? Oh, yeah, 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 that's right. I did move these guys down to okay at best just because of their passives. Their passives are just not there. Same thing with Neji. We'll kind of put Neji at the top of okay at best because Rock Lee is just a better Neji. So if you're going to use one of the two, you might as well use that one. Killua. Killua used to be in like the really, really good category. Now he's just kind of like at the end of the usable category, especially since they've been adding more and more CC characters to the game. It's kind of hard to say if he's very, very good or not. Vegeta is still the best starter unit in the game, even though he is ground only. Oh wait, yeah, he is ground only. Uh, the only downside with Vegeta is obviously that he just doesn't do a lot of damage in that really, really end game category, but he's still there. Still incredibly cheap, still incredibly solid. I still think that he's up there until they add another purple unit that makes him like look weak. Then we'll see what happens. I think Magenta was supposed to be that unit, but Magenta's single target, which makes him pretty bad. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get Speedwagon up there. For a must-have unit, Speedwagon's obviously got to be up there. Rukia is still the only character in the game that could actually freeze something, so it is kind of a must-have unit up, obviously. If you don't have, like, if you're doing, like, some type of event where it requires you to keep stacking up, like, stun buffs, Rukia is that type of character where you're like, okay, this character's here for a very specific job, but it's a must-have job, because if you don't have Rukia, then you're not going to be able to get that freeze, and she's the only person who does freeze in the game right now, so we just have to, like, keep that category going until probably the next Christmas update that they drop for Reborn, and then kind of work from there. Freaking next we have Kizaru. I think is still honestly still in that really good category. Super cheap unit, incredibly solid unit. So with that being the case, I can't really say he's going to be lower, lower, lower. He's honestly still in that really, really good spot, and so is Android 13. I mean Android 18. Android 18 still in that really good spot with one of the better passives in the game because of that kill passive, execution passive, I guess, is what I would like to call it. Let's see. We're kind of like getting into that final category. Hang on, guys. We're getting there. All right, Gohan, obviously a must-have unit. Still, he's still obtainable. They took out the Gammas, but Gohan's still there. Whitebeard, still a must-have unit. Piccolo, still a must-have unit. Rimuru is still up here, but way too, like, even with the buffs, Rimuru is still, like, just a really good unit, not a must-have. There's other characters that deserve the must-have category, like, obviously, Mihawk deserves the must-have category. The must-have category, by the way, I'm not saying which unit's the best in the game. I'm just telling you exactly where these guys belong, and that's in your inventory. If you don't have them in your inventory, then you're wasting your time. Obviously, Asta, uh, Mars, Yuno. Yuno is an amazing slow character, probably the best, like one of the best in the game, with really, really good damage. Goku, one of the most amazing starter units in the game. Super cheap to evolve. Gammas, they're just really strong, but they're not obtainable anymore, so that's very, very sad. Kaido, obviously one of the craziest damage dealing units in the game. I would say that he's like over here just because of the fact that, like, obviously these guys have a lot of really good passives that make them more useful than Kaido, because if you're using Beast Gohan, you don't need a Kaido. You could use a Kaido, but Beast Gohan will clear as long as he's getting like help. uh it's the same deal, you know what I mean? Obviously Itachi, still one of the best burn units in the game, hands down. Then we have Android 21, just crazy, crazy destructive unit, still up there. For a secret unit, these secret units are aging very well in this game because they keep updating them, making them better, making them stronger, and this is kind of where we're at right here. The only thing I would kind of change a little bit is just the positioning, just because of, like, you don't really want to run Mihawk instantly. He's so slow to start up, and his thing is just a real slow one. I do like Whitebeard a little higher, just because Whitebeard's incredibly strong. But this is kind of like where I like to sit with this. All right, let's go and take a look at these new characters. So we did get 6 brand new characters to this update, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about these guys. With this update, these guys did get like they didn't get any buffs this update, which is kind of sad. I kind of thought that they would, but I digress. We're kind of there. Let's start off with the legendaries. So we did get Gordon, we got Magna, and then we did get Lemillion, which are like very, very decent characters. I would say that they're cool. Like, they're really good units, honestly. Like, passive the passive poison effect is so interesting to me. It's honestly such a really cool gimmick. The only downside is he is not hybrid. He's like ground unit. So him and like Vegito are like up there. Magna, kind of like a little. I don't know where to put Magna here. Passive is all right. Character is all right. Damage is really not bad. Really useful. Really good unit. Honestly, they've been really stepping it up with the legendaries lately. And I would have to say the same thing for Lemillion, Shieldbreaker. Obviously, just a really, really nice unit to have. Decent passive. I don't really want to waste too much time. I think they're kind of in that category. If you guys believe otherwise, let me know down below. Uh, Now we have the Stinkers. Time King. One of the most okay units in the game, honestly, even with, like, probably one of the worst passives ever. Like, you're telling me you put him next to a group of people, everybody gets 10% SPA. Like, negative 10% SPA. Cool. 10%. 10% shaves off a lot. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do that at all. It's so bad. And then after that, he gets his, like, obviously he gets his next ability, which is time stop. And then so, like, he has a really good time stop, but he has some of the worst damage in the entire game with like a 1,000, like with less than 1,000 or even 1,000, depending on your build, actually. Less than 1,000 damage a second is freaking criminal, dude. It's so bad. Holy crap. And his freaking passive, his secondary passive's okay at best. Like, that's probably the best thing about him. But, like, honestly, like, the slowdown passive is so crappy compared to just getting slowdown with another unit or just destroying them, stunning them. Like, there's better passives to get in the game than slow, such as freeze, stun. Uh, the slowness with Yuno is just a lot better, and you're getting more damage with Yuno, so it's like not even worth a damn actually having the Time Lord, like the King, on your freaking team. He's so freaking bad, and just like, I don't know, bro. He's so freaking bad. It's actually terrible. Actually, criminal. Actually, Light. They've been glazing the hell out of Light, but he's not really in that category of must-have just because he has some decent light attacks. He's kind of like in that category of the Gammas, which is like decent damage with a nice AoE. but he doesn't do the job of everybody else here. So I just have to put him in the really good category. Like Piccolo does more than him. Freaking Goku does more than him. Everybody else here is more useful than Light. Like what's his name again? Fraud, absolute fraud. He's just the biggest fraud in this entire update. Him and the Time King, biggest frauds ever, which make these guys not even worth farming at all. That's why you haven't seen people really playing the hell out of this update, because these characters are the worst ever. You have to just get the main characters in order to actually get a better understanding of the game, and don't waste your freaking gems on these losers because they're not even worth it. Now, Noelle, on the other hand, another amazing character in the game, with some of the best passives in the game, some of the best attacks in the game. She has an AOE hybrid attack. She's a heal unit, but she also comes with a wave attack that you've probably seen in other games used by Whitebeard, which the wave goes down the lane, does a crap ton of damage, and also debuffs and makes it more and more possible to do even more damage to the units that it hits. So her new passives and everything else like that just make her so freaking useful. She's so freaking good. Ridiculously good. Ridiculously well-made unit. I wish that we would have saw this over what we saw with Light and the freaking Wizard King. Because holy crap, is she such a well-made character? So ridiculously powerful. This is kind of where she lands. She's a must-have unit for sure. Like probably the best buffer and debuffer in the game already, because of the passives that she has and her actual ultimate skill with her evolution. So, of course, you're gonna have to evolve her, but why are you not evolving units that are mythics? Like, if you're gonna get them, might as well evolve them, and then kind of work from there. But that pretty much does it with this update. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that comment down below. Hit that like button down below. I'll see you guys later. Take it easy and peace out. I'll see you guys in a future video. Yeah.